In the immediate aftermath of Putin's opposition leader Alexei Navalny's death, Johnson issued the following statement.
In a surprising move, Republican Party Speaker Mike Johnson has taken a bold stand against former President Donald Trump for his unwavering defense of Russian President Vladimir Putin. In the aftermath of the tragic death of Alexei Navalny, a prominent Russian opposition leader, Johnson has sent a strong message that cannot be ignored. In this video, we will delve into the details of Johnson's message and the potential impact it may have within the party. Get ready for a story that will leave you stunned. The Republican Party speaker's message. Just days ago, in the immediate aftermath of Vladimir Putin's opposition leader Alexei Navalny's death, Republican Party Speaker Mike Johnson issued a statement that sent shockwaves through the political landscape. He boldly declared, "Vladimir Putin is a vicious dictator, and the world knows he is likely directly responsible for the sudden death of his most prominent political opponent, Alexei Navalny. Putin has shown his willingness to use extreme measures, including the use of radioactive material, to attack his enemies and expand his power." As part of his message to Trump, he further said, "It must be clear that Putin will be met with united opposition. As Congress debates the best path forward to support Ukraine, the United States and our partners must be using every means available to cut off Putin's ability to fund his unprovoked war in Ukraine and aggression against the Baltic states." From his message, it was clear there was no holding back in Johnson's condemnation of Putin's actions. He highlighted Putin's willingness to use extreme measures, including the use of radioactive material, to attack his enemies and expand his power. It was a strong and unequivocal message that demanded united opposition against Putin. As Congress debates the best path forward to support Ukraine, the United States and their partners, Johnson emphasized the need to use every means available to cut off Putin's ability to fund his unprovoked war in Ukraine and aggression against the Baltic states. Alexei Anatolyevich Navalny, whose death has caused a stir in the political scene, was a Russian opposition leader, lawyer, anti-corruption activist, and political prisoner. Throughout his lifetime, Navalny was known to organize anti-government demonstrations and ran for office to advocate reforms against corruption in Russia and against President Vladimir Putin and his government. He was recognized by Amnesty International as a prisoner of conscience and was awarded the Sakharov Prize for his work on human rights. Navalny gained massive recognition following a 2011 radio interview where he described Russia's ruling party, United Russia, as a party of crooks and thieves, which became a popular epithet. Navalny also published investigations detailing alleged corruption by high-ranking Russian officials and their associates. Unfortunately, this made an enemy of the government. In 2013 and 2014, Navalny received a suspended sentence for embezzlement, although the criminal cases were widely considered politically motivated and intended to bar him from running in future elections. In August 2020, Navalny was hospitalized in serious condition after being poisoned with a Novichok nerve agent. He was medically evacuated to Berlin and discharged a month later.
I think for Putin, why he's using this chemical weapon to do both, kill me and, terrify others. It's something really scary, and Putin is enjoying it.
Navalny accused Putin of being responsible for his poisoning. An investigation even implicated agents from the Federal Security Service.
You have said you think that Mr. Putin's responsible.
I don't think, I'm sure that he's responsible.
In January 2021, Navalny returned to Russia and was immediately detained on accusations of violating parole conditions while he was hospitalized in Germany. In February 2021, his suspended sentence was replaced with a prison sentence of over 2.5 years detention, and his organizations were later designated as extremist and liquidated. In March 2022, Navalny was sentenced to an additional 9 years in prison after being found guilty of embezzlement and contempt of court in a new trial described as a sham by Amnesty International. His appeal was rejected, and in June, he was transferred to a high-security prison. Unfortunately, that wasn't the end of his legal woes. In August 2023, Navalny was sentenced to an additional 19 years in prison on extremism charges, and in December 2023, Navalny went missing from prison for almost 3 weeks. On 16 February 2024, the Russian prison service announced that Navalny had died at the age of 47.
Russia's prison authorities have announced that the leading Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny has died.
Just this morning, Russian state media is reporting Alexei Navalny, the jailed opposition leader and main Vladimir Putin critic, has died.
His death has sparked protests, both in Russia and in various other countries. Accusations against the Russian authorities in connection with his death have been made by Western governments and international organizations. It is in the wake of this that Republican Speaker Mike Johnson publicly came out to condemn condemn Putin's actions. But here's where things get interesting. While Johnson took a firm stance against Putin, his own party's loyalty to former President Donald Trump has put him in a precarious position. Johnson's strong stance against Putin and support for Ukraine has put him at odds with the extremist elements within his own party. If he chooses to stand up against Putin's autocratic behavior, he risks losing support from those who have aligned themselves with Trump's agenda. Trump's constant defense of Putin doesn't come as a surprise, especially as he made no secret of his admiration for the Russian leader. This pattern of behavior has raised serious questions about Trump's loyalty and his willingness to protect American interests. And now, Johnson finds himself caught between his own professed values and the threats of the extremists within his party. Complicating matters further is the fact that the Republican Party, under Trump's leadership, has shown a disregard for democracy. Trump himself made his desire to terminate the Constitution clear, stating on his social media platform, "The massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution." Johnson's strong message against Putin and support for Ukraine directly contradicts the party's alignment with Trump. The GOP's allegiance to Trump, who has openly praised Putin and dismissed concerns about Russian interference, raises questions about their commitment to democratic principles. The battle between Ukraine and Russia further complicates matters for Johnson. If the choice is between democracy and Trump, it's clear that the Republicans will side with Trump. The regime that supports Trump, the regime that helped him in the 2016 election and continues to assist him today, is likely to receive their support. Johnson's decision will have far-reaching consequences within the Republican Party. If he chooses to prioritize his own professed values and stand up against Putin's autocratic behavior, he risks losing support from the extremists within his party. This could lead to a motion to vacate and an effort to push him out of his position as Speaker. On the other hand, if Johnson chooses to protect his own job and align himself with the party's extremist elements, he will be turning his back on his own professed interest in stopping Ukraine and Putin's aggression. This would further erode the party's commitment to democracy and raise serious questions about their priorities. The impact of Johnson's decision will reverberate within the Republican Party. It will shape the party's future and determine whether they remain committed to democratic principles or continue down a path of alignment with autocratic regimes. The implications of Johnson's decision go beyond the internal dynamics of the Republican Party. It raises serious concerns about the future of American democracy. If the party's allegiance is no longer to democracy, but to a leader who openly admires autocratic regimes, then the battle between Ukraine and Russia becomes a battle between democratic values and authoritarian rule. As we navigate these turbulent times, it is crucial for the American people to remain vigilant and hold their elected officials accountable. Trump's relationship with Putin. The relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin has been a subject of great interest and speculation. To understand the dynamics of their association, let's take a closer look at the timeline and key events that have shaped their relationship. It all began in June 2013, when Donald Trump, then a prominent businessman and television personality, mused about the possibility of becoming bosom buddies with Vladimir Putin. In a tweet, Trump wondered if the Russian leader would attend the 2013 Miss Universe pageant that he brought to Moscow. This casual remark sparked curiosity and set the stage for future discussions about their potential connection. In October 2013, Trump made headlines when he praised Putin for outsmarting the United States during the Syrian conflict. In an interview with Larry King, Trump commended Putin's ability to dissuade the U.S. from attacking Syria by arranging for the removal of President Bashar Assad's chemical weapons.
Are you an admirer of the Russian?
I think he's done a great job of outsmarting our country.
This statement raised eyebrows and fueled speculation about Trump's admiration for Putin's leadership and strategic prowess. In March 2014, Trump made a bold claim about Putin's ambitions. In a tweet, he stated that Putin would restore the Russian Empire, suggesting that the Russian leader had grand plans for expanding Russia's influence on the global stage. This statement showcased Trump's belief in Putin's ability to exert power and reshape geopolitical dynamics. In April 2014, Trump continued to heap praise on Putin while criticizing then-President Obama. In an interview, Trump expressed his disdain for the state of U.S.-Russian relations and lambasted Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State. Trump's remarks highlighted his dissatisfaction with the existing diplomatic landscape and his desire for a change in leadership. In July 2015, as Trump's presidential campaign gained momentum, he expressed his belief that he would get along very well with Vladimir Putin. During a press conference in Scotland, Trump stated that he thought he and Putin would have a positive relationship. He cited their shared dislike for Obama and Clinton, suggesting that their common ground could pave the way for a strong alliance.
I think I'd get along very well with Vladimir Putin. I just think so. People would say, what do you mean? I think I'd get along well with him. Obama and him, he hates Obama. Obama hates him. We have unbelievably bad relationships.
In October 2015, Trump claimed that he and Putin had bonded during their appearances on the same episode of 60 Minutes. Despite the logistical impossibility of their simultaneous interviews, Trump stuck to this narrative during a GOP debate. This assertion further fueled speculation about the nature of their relationship and added to the intrigue surrounding their interactions. In December 2015, Putin and Trump exchanged compliments, garnering significant attention from the media and the public. Putin referred to Trump as the absolute leader in the presidential race and praised his liveliness and talent. In response, Trump expressed his belief in the potential for collaboration between Russia and the United States, emphasizing the importance of defeating terrorism and restoring world peace. In February 2016, Trump dismissed calls to disavow Putin's praise, stating that he had no relationship with Putin other than the fact that Putin called him a genius. Trump emphasized the importance of getting along with other countries and suggested that a positive relationship with Putin could benefit both nations. His unwavering confidence in their potential alliance further fueled speculation about the nature of their connection. In April 2016, Trump expressed his hope for a positive relationship with Putin, stating that they might get along well. He highlighted Putin's previous niceties towards him and expressed his willingness to make a great deal for the United States. Trump's remarks showcased his desire for improved relations with Russia and his belief in the potential benefits of collaboration. In June 2016, Putin referred to Trump as a bright personality during the Russian Economic Forum in St. Petersburg. Putin's compliment further added to the intrigue surrounding their relationship and raised questions about the extent of their connection. In 2023, Putin even went ahead to state that the cases against former U.S. President Donald Trump were political revenge that showed the fundamental corruption of American politics. In his words, "As for Trump, for us what is happening in today's conditions, in my opinion, is good because it shows the rottenness of the American political system, which cannot pretend to teach others democracy. Everything that is happening with Trump is the persecution of a political rival for political reasons. That's what it is. And this is being done in front of the public of the United States and the whole world," he further said. The relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin has not been without its fair share of controversies and controversies. In July 2016, during his presidential campaign, Trump made a stunning suggestion. He hinted that the Russians might be behind the WikiLeaks publication of 20,000 internal Democratic National Committee emails. Trump's reasoning? Putin likes him. This statement sent shockwaves through the political landscape, raising concerns about foreign interference in the U.S. election. Just 2 days later, Trump suddenly insisted that he and Putin had never met. During a news conference in Florida, he stated,
I met Putin. I don't know who Putin is. He said one nice thing about me. He said I'm a genius. I said thank you very much to the newspaper. And that was the end of it. I never met Putin.
This denial raised eyebrows and fueled speculation about the true nature of their relationship. On July 28, 2016, Trump made headlines once again with his stance on Putin. During a news conference, he stated that he wouldn't be Putin's patsy and emphasized the importance of treating Putin firmly. However, he also expressed his desire for a friendly relationship with Russia, highlighting the potential benefits of collaboration in combating ISIS. Trump's mixed messages and refusal to call on Putin to steer clear of the U.S. presidential election raised concerns and added to the controversy surrounding their connection. Throughout Trump's presidency, the controversies surrounding his relationship with Putin continued to make headlines. From allegations of Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election to ongoing investigations into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, their connection remained a subject of intense scrutiny. While some argue that their interactions were merely political posturing, others believe that there may be deeper ties between the two leaders. The true nature of their relationship remains a subject of debate and speculation, with many unanswered questions. As we can see, the controversies surrounding the relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have been numerous and far-reaching. From Trump's suggestions of Russian involvement to his denial of meeting Putin, their connection has been shrouded in controversy. The relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin has had a significant impact on global politics, with far-reaching implications for both the United States and Russia. One key event that highlighted the implications of the Trump-Putin relationship was the Ukraine crisis and Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014. As tensions escalated between Russia and Ukraine, Trump's stance on the crisis drew attention. His reluctance to criticize Putin and his statements suggesting that Russia had a legitimate claim to Crimea raised concerns among U.S. allies and fueled speculation about his relationship with Putin. The implications of this crisis on regional stability and the balance of power in Eastern Europe cannot be ignored. The Trump-Putin relationship also had implications for NATO and the transatlantic alliance. Trump's skepticism of NATO and his questioning of the alliance's relevance raised concerns among U.S. allies in Europe. This skepticism aligned with Putin's desire to weaken NATO and undermine the unity of the transatlantic alliance. The implications of this strained relationship on collective defense and the balance of power in Europe were significant, with NATO members questioning the U.S. commitment to their security. The Trump-Putin relationship also had implications for the Syrian conflict and the fight against ISIS. Trump's expressed desire for a positive relationship with Russia and his emphasis on collaboration in combating ISIS raised questions about the U.S. approach to the conflict. Some argued that Trump's willingness to work with Putin could lead to a more coordinated effort against ISIS, while others expressed concerns about potential concessions to Russia and the implications for U.S. interests in the region. The relationship between Trump and Putin also had implications for sanctions and economic relations between the United States and Russia. Throughout his presidency, Trump faced pressure to maintain or strengthen sanctions against Russia in response to its actions in Ukraine and alleged interference in the U.S. election. However, his statements suggesting a desire for improved relations with Russia raised concerns about the potential easing of sanctions. The implications of these decisions on the global economic landscape and the balance of power between the United States and Russia were significant. As we reflect on the legacy of the Trump-Putin relationship, it is clear that their connection has had far-reaching implications for global politics. From allegations of Russian interference in the U.S. election to the Ukraine crisis and the fight against ISIS, their interactions have shaped the geopolitical landscape in profound ways. The implications of their relationship on democratic processes, regional stability, collective defense, and economic relations cannot be understated. While the true nature of their relationship remains a subject of debate and speculation, the impact of their interactions is undeniable. As we navigate the complexities of the Trump-Putin relationship, it is crucial to examine the implications and learn from the lessons of the past. Only by understanding the full scope of their connection can we move forward and shape a more stable and secure future. Trump's response. In the world of politics, few figures have been as polarizing as former President Donald Trump. Known for his bombastic style and unfiltered remark, Trump has once again found himself at the center of controversy. This time, it revolves around his defense of Russian President Vladimir Putin, especially with his shocking comments on NATO. During a recent interview, Trump made headlines when he openly stated that he would encourage Russia to attack NATO allies who fail to meet their financial obligations to the alliance. This brazen statement sent shockwaves through the political landscape, leaving both Democrats and Republicans in disbelief. While senior administration officials managed to dissuade him from taking such drastic action at the time, Trump is now discussing the possibility of withdrawing from NATO if his demands are not met. This revelation has raised serious concerns about Trump's commitment to the alliance and his willingness to prioritize American interests on the world stage. In a Fox News town hall, Trump vowed that he would never come to Europe's aid if it were attacked, according to a top EU official. These statements have only fueled the growing criticism of Trump's approach to international relations and his disregard for the importance of alliances and collective security. While Trump's comments on NATO have drawn condemnation from Speaker Johnson, his other allies in the Republican Party have been noticeably silent. The New York Times reported that many GOP officials, once critical of Trump, are now standing by him, even after his controversial remarks. This response from Republican Party elites has been characterized by expressions of support, gaze aversion, or even cheerful indifference. It seems that the Republican Party has become adept at deflecting Trump's most outrageous statements, choosing to ignore or downplay them rather than address the concerns they raise. For instance, CNN highlighted Senator Marco Rubio's dismissal of concerns about Trump's NATO remarks as backlash against the former president continues to mount. Rubio's response reflects a broader trend within the Republican Party, where criticism of Trump is often met with deflection or dismissal. This unwavering support for Trump, even in the face of controversial statements, underscores his ongoing influence within the party and the reluctance of many Republicans to challenge him. Adding to the controversy, Trump has recently endorsed Michael Whatley, a conspiracy theorist and election denier, to be the chair of the Republican National Committee, RNC. This endorsement makes it abundantly clear that election deniers are not only tolerated but embraced within Trump's GOP. CNN reported that Whatley has frequently repeated Trump's false claims of voter fraud in the 2020 election, further solidifying the connection between Trump and those who perpetuate baseless conspiracy theories. The The Republican Party's response to Johnson's message and Trump's defense of Putin and his controversial remarks on NATO raises serious questions about the party's values and priorities. While some Republicans may privately disagree with Trump's statements, their public supporter silence speaks volumes. Trump's ongoing influence within the party is evident, as his allies continue to rally behind him, even in the face of criticism and controversy. The House GOP's failure to effectively address national security concerns and their reliance on political theatrics further highlight the ongoing influence of Trump within the party. In conclusion, the responses and reactions from Donald Trump and his allies to the criticism of his defense of Putin have been nothing short of shocking. Trump's controversial remarks on NATO and his endorsement of conspiracy theorists have ignited a firestorm within the political landscape. Despite the criticism, Trump's allies in Congress have remained silent, reflecting his ongoing influence within the Republican Party. As we wrap up this section, it is clear that the MAGA malarkey and extremism within the Republican Party have reached new heights. The responses and reactions from Trump and his allies reflect a party that is willing to prioritize personal loyalty over the interests of the nation. The implications of these actions are far-reaching and will continue to shape the political landscape in the years to come. Public reaction and analysis. When former President Donald Trump made remarks supporting Russian President Vladimir Putin, the public's reaction was swift and intense. Supporters and critics alike voiced their opinions on Trump's stance, leading to a heated debate about the implications of his statements. Let's take a closer look at the initial public reaction to Donald Trump's remarks supporting Putin. As news of Trump's remarks spread, social media platforms were flooded with discussions and debates. Supporters and critics took to Twitter, Facebook, and other platforms to express their views. Some praised Trump for his emphasis on NATO spending, while others condemned his remarks as treasonous. Let's explore the key events and responses that shaped the initial public reaction. It all started when Donald Trump made a statement during a campaign rally in South Carolina. He reiterated his stance that NATO members who fail to meet defense spending targets should not expect protection from the United States. However, it was his additional comment that drew the most outrage. Trump encouraged Russia to do whatever the hell they want if NATO allies did not fulfill their financial obligations.
One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
This statement sent shockwaves through the public and political circles, with many questioning the implications of such a remark. Following Trump's comments and the death of Alexei Navalny, people have strongly begun to question his support for Putin and its impact on American politics. However, supporters of Trump's remarks argue that NATO countries should fulfill their defense spending obligations. They believe that Trump's comments highlight the need for financial responsibility within the alliance. Some even argue that his tough stance on NATO spending is a necessary step to ensure a fair burden sharing among member countries. On the other hand, critics view Trump's comments as a betrayal of American values and a threat to the security of NATO allies. They argue that his remarks undermine the unity and strength of the NATO alliance, potentially emboldening Russia and weakening American influence on the global stage. Many critics labeled Trump's remarks as treasonous and expressed concern about the implications for national security. Representatives from NATO also condemned Trump's remarks, calling them deeply troubling and treasonous. They emphasized the importance of unity and solidarity within the alliance, highlighting that any suggestion that allies will not defend each other undermines security. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg expressed his concerns, stating that the alliance is based on the principle of collective defense and that any weakening of this commitment could have serious consequences. Public figures and political analysts also weighed in on Trump's remarks. Some argued that his comments were taken out of context and that he was simply emphasizing the importance of NATO members paying their dues. Republican Senator Marco Rubio defended Trump, stating that he had zero concerns about the remarks. However, others criticized Trump's statements, questioning the impact on American foreign policy and the country's relationships with its allies. The public reaction extended beyond social media and political circles. Protests erupted in various cities, with people expressing their outrage and concern over Trump's remarks. Demonstrators held signs and chanted slogans, demanding accountability and a reaffirmation of America's commitment to its allies. Internationally, Trump's remarks remarks also drew attention and criticism. Leaders from other countries expressed their concerns about the implications of his statements. Some viewed Trump's remarks as a sign of wavering American commitment to global alliances, while others saw it as an opportunity to assert their own agendas. Public opinion polls conducted in the aftermath of Trump's remarks showed a divided nation. Some polls indicated that a significant portion of the public supported Trump's emphasis on NATO spending, while others expressed deep concern about the potential consequences of his remark. Donald Trump's remarks supporting Putin have not only sparked intense public reaction, but have also raised significant questions about the implications for the Republican Party. His comments on NATO spending and his suggestion that Russia could do whatever the hell they want if NATO allies did not fulfill their financial obligations have divided the Republican Party. Critics within the GOP argue that his comments undermine the unity and strength of the NATO alliance, potentially weakening America's position on the global stage. These critics believe that the GOP should prioritize maintaining strong alliances and upholding American values rather than focusing solely on financial obligations. The divide within the GOP over Trump's remarks highlights broader divisions within the party. The Republican Party has long been seen as the party of strong national defense and a staunch supporter of NATO. However, Trump's remarks have challenged this perception and exposed differing views within the party on foreign policy and national security. The significance of Trump's remarks for the GOP's future direction cannot be understated. The party now faces a critical decision on how to navigate these divisions and define its stance on international alliances and global engagement. Will the GOP continue to align itself with Trump's America First approach, or will it seek to reestablish its traditional position as a defender of international alliances? The implications of the GOP's response to Trump's remarks extend beyond party unity. The party's stance on international alliances and global engagement will shape its electoral prospects and influence its ability to attract a broad base of voters. The GOP must carefully consider the long-term consequences of aligning itself with Trump's controversial remarks and the potential impact on its credibility and appeal to voters. Trump's remarks have also raised questions about the GOP's identity. Will the party continue to prioritize loyalty to Trump and his policies, or will it seek to redefine itself and appeal to a broader range of voters? The GOP's response to Trump's remarks will shape its identity and influence its ability to attract new supporters and remain relevant in a changing political landscape. The divisions within the GOP over Trump's remarks also have implications for the party's ability to effectively govern and pass legislation. A divided party may struggle to find common ground on key policy issues and could face challenges in presenting a unified front to the American people. The electoral impact of Trump's remarks and the GOP's response will be closely watched. The party's stance on international alliances and global engagement could influence voter perceptions and shape electoral outcomes. The GOP must carefully consider the potential consequences of aligning itself with Trump's controversial remarks and the impact on its ability to attract independent and moderate voters. Some political analysts speculate that Trump's remarks and the GOP's response could lead to a realignment within the party. The divisions over foreign policy and national security could reshape the party's platform and priorities, potentially attracting new voices and shifting the GOP's direction in the years to come. Donald Trump's remarks supporting Putin also have far-reaching implications for American politics beyond the immediate public reaction and the GOP's response. Trump's comments on NATO and his support for Putin highlight a growing concern about the erosion of democratic norms. Some argue that his remarks undermine the principles of collective defense and the importance of international alliances in maintaining global stability. This erosion of democratic norms raises questions about the future of American leadership and its commitment to democratic values. Trump's rhetoric has had a significant impact on his supporters, shaping their views and influencing their political beliefs. His remarks supporting Putin and questioning the importance of NATO have resonated with a segment of the population that feels disillusioned with traditional politics and institutions. This influence has raised concerns about the long-term implications for American democracy. Trump's remarks and the subsequent public reaction have further polarized American politics. The divisions between Trump's supporters and his critics have deepened, making it increasingly challenging to find common ground and work towards bipartisan solutions. This polarization has hindered the ability to address pressing issues and has contributed to a more divided political landscape. While the true nature of their relationship remains elusive, it is clear that Trump's defense of Putin is shaping the geopolitical landscape in significant ways. For more thought-provoking videos like this, click on the cards showing on your screens for more.